Well, Stephanie, what you can tell me about your experience with your grandfather on New York City? How was the moment for you? What you can tell me about?
It is. My great grandfather was primarily a boxing promoter in New York City, disowned by his Irish immigrant parents because they wanted him to be a doctor or a lawyer, not a promoter. Then my grandfather was boxing and wrestling. And then my father came in and really took it over and made it, the global media organization that we are today.
In your career, like the WWE bust?
I've always wanted to be a part of my family's business because to me it was a way to give back. My parents were really busy growing WWE, and my mom was the CEO, and my dad was really running all of the creative. My father is now the chairman and CEO. But it was a way for me to really contribute. They were always on the road. They were always working. And we didn't have a nanny, at that time. So I was with them and I was listening to the conversations and I was learning more than I realized at the time. Also, just even watching our programming, I was learning about the psychology of the in-ring product itself, because I've always been a fan first and foremost. But the choice. Yeah. I was walking around, we have a pool, and I was walking around the pool with my dad, and I was about 16, 17, and he said, so, you're going to be going off to college soon. Have you thought about what it is you want to do, for the rest of your life for a living? And I looked at him like he had three heads, and he said, why are you looking at me like that? And I said, Dad, I want to be a part of the business. I've always been a part of the business. I've worked reception while I was in high school. Like, as you mentioned, I want to be here. And he was surprised. And he says to this day, he doesn't know why he was surprised, but pleasantly so. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you know what? You like the boss and like a wrestler, many times ago. That was amazing for you and your experience. You tell me why.
Was more involved, and it was always assumed. So I do think there was a little bit of that. It was assumed that Shane, my brother, would go into the family. Then at one point in time, my brother actually retired from WWE and was starting his own business. And he is now back as a performer and in various forms of fashion. So it's interesting. Family business is wonderful in a lot of ways.
Yeah, you know why? You and your family fight in WWE for many time. So I know. But you West.
Well, I was forbidden to train because I think there was a legitimate concern that I was going to get hurt. An on-screen character, and I really became this villain, which was the way the audience wanted to take me. Yeah. They love to hate me. I hope it's true. But, I needed to learn how to fall appropriately without hurting myself, because what we do requires a tremendous skill set. And eventually I was able to convince them, and I started training. And I've been in, maybe a dozen matches throughout my career. I wouldn't call myself an accomplished professional. I've had some very high profile matches because of my persona. The character I play is the boss's daughter, but I play like a super evil version of the boss's daughter. Everybody. But I would say the hardest, or I guess the most lessons learned was when I faced Ronda Rousey. The first ever female UFC champion. She medaled in Judoka, was the first American to do so. First match. She may not have been as skilled at pulling her punches. She could, because if she did, I wouldn't have gotten up. But that was a real experience training with Ronda for 3 months, getting ready for that match at WrestleMania.
Style and grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome to the queendom. The queendom, where the kings bow down. They relinquish the crown. Y'all gon' hit me now. I just turn that around and make you love me, love me, love me. The queendom, where the kings bow down. They relinquish the crown. Y'all gon' hit me with a flair like she just don't care. Nobody do her like she do her. Self-made, so paid, doing that